After nearly 2 weeks of violent demonstrations and protests in Tibet, President Bush finally put in a telephone call to the Chinese President Hu Jintao. President Bush told the communist leader he's concerned about Beijing's crackdown and oppression in Tibet and urged him to talk with the Dalai Lama. Meanwhile, a new swell of support to boycott China's Olympic Games. Many are wondering why the president is so dismissive of such efforts. Kitty Pilgrim has our report.
The communist Chinese government released these pictures out of Tibet. The police along the road claim they were just traffic cops.
We are just here to apprehend people who have no license or are speeding.
It's been a little less than 2 weeks since these pictures came out of the area, a brutal crackdown by Chinese police on pro-democracy protesters in Tibet. The human rights abuses there are generating talk of a boycott of Beijing's Olympics. France's President Nicolas Sarkozy says his country may boycott the opening ceremonies because of the abuses. President Bush still says he plans on attending the Olympics, saying the games are about the athletes, not politics. The Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the same thing. We must follow the purpose of the Olympics and not politicize the games. The president's national security advisor wouldn't even discuss the Olympics.
Olympics or no Olympics, these are important issues that need to be addressed.
There's no way that the President of the United States can go anywhere as just a sports fan. He will be sending a very negative message if he attends without any strong message of concern for the human rights situation.
Human rights activists say an Olympic boycott is called for over atrocities in Darfur and China's support for the Sudanese government. Filmmaker Steven Spielberg withdrew as artistic advisor of the opening ceremonies because of that issue. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was blasted by the Chinese last week for saying if people don't speak out against China's oppression in Tibet, we've lost all moral authority to speak on behalf of human rights anywhere in the world. Well, Friday, she said the Chinese government has failed to live up to its commitments to improve human rights conditions in China and Tibet, but a boycott of the Beijing Olympics would unfairly harm our athletes who have worked so hard. Lou?
Thank you very much. Let's see. So she's created an equation between athletic training and human rights oppression.
Many of the human rights groups oppose this sort of a situation. They say it's about human dignity. The Olympics is about human dignity, and if you don't have human rights, you don't have human dignity.
Well, that seems to be a more palatable equation if one must be drawn. Kitty, thank you very much. Kitty Pilgrim. Coming up next, a major victory for the state of Texas, fighting, of all people, the Bush administration over a criminal illegal alien on death row. It turns out the Supreme Court kind of likes the idea of sovereignty, no matter what this president thinks. And will the battle between the Democratic candidates tear the party apart? We'll be talking with Tennessee's governor and superdelegate Phil Bredesen next. Stay with us.